It's a crisp winter day with leftover snow coating the grassy fields of the park. We have just landed in Beijing, and I realize I'm arriving with a very specific preconception of Beijing: skyscrapers, crowds, and megalomania. This is part 1 of my Travel in China series, so stay tuned for videos from Shanghai and Hong Kong coming soon. Beijing is a city with over 3,000 years of history, and I keep wondering how that past survives inside the modern China. Our 4-day plan is simple. Move between old and new and see what the contrast actually feels like. We start at the Temple of Heaven, a vast park and temple complex built in the 15th century. It's said to be 3 times bigger than the Forbidden City, which is hard to imagine until you start walking. Even in winter, the place is full of visitors. We didn't book tickets in advance, but luckily we didn't have to queue for long. The first building we reach is the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests, a huge circular structure made entirely of wood, with no nails holding it together. You're allowed to walk around it, but not inside, so it feels like something you can observe but not fully enter. The main ritual happened during the winter solstice. The emperor would fast for several days and then lead a ceremony at this altar. No commoners were allowed into the temple grounds. This ceremony tradition continued for more than 500 years. From there, we follow the Vermilion Steps Bridge, a raised walkway that slowly pulls deeper into the complex, toward the Imperial Vault of Heaven. The vault looks like a smaller version of the main hall, almost like its echo. While we're standing there, a few schoolgirls approach us and ask to take a picture with us. It's a tiny moment, but it catches me off guard, but it's very cute. I did not realize we would encounter this multiple times during our trip. It almost feels like a memento for the Chinese to take home a picture with a foreigner. We end at the circular mound altar, an empty open platform once used for prayers for rain. Its design revolves around the number 9, which in Chinese philosophy is considered extremely young, connected to dragons and to the emperor himself. Everything here is layered with meaning, even when it looks simple. I start to realize that Beijing doesn't explain itself easily. It makes you slow down if you want to understand it. And for me, that means a lot of Googling. One of my favorite ways to get to know a city better is through independent coffee shops. Square of 8 Coffee is a local Beijing-based roastery, and their bean selection really impressed me. After a brief break at the coffee shop, I want to see the opposite side of the city. Something unmistakably modern. I have one building in mind, the CCTV tower. But on the way there, this park just catches my attention and we get distracted. The lake is completely solid in the minus 10-degree weather, and it's full of locals finishing their day. In the warm light of the golden hour, ordinary routines suddenly look cinematic. People are skating, but not really. They're sitting on small sleds and pushing themselves forward with sticks. It's playful, yet practical at the same time. This isn't the Beijing I imagined, but somehow it just feels more real. When we finally reached the CCTV headquarters, I realized that the best view isn't from the street at all. It's from across the road, inside the China World Mall. And even calling it a road feels wrong. Everything here is built on a scale that makes you feel small. Before dinner, I find myself craving something warm. So we step into a small tea shop inside the mall. It specializes in cakes and tea and has branches all over China. The staff tried to explain how the tea should be prepared, but luckily the tea ceremony and preparation is part of the experience, and the staff prepares the tea right in front of our eyes. Traditional Chinese tea preparation emphasizes short, multiple infusions using high-quality loose leaf tea, with small teapots to maximize aroma and flavor. The first infusion is set aside, so don't drink that. For dinner, we go back to the Buxuan Hotel, where traditional Chinese and Cantonese dishes are served in their Fushunzhu restaurant. This was one of the best experiences in a restaurant I had during the whole trip in China. The next morning, our plan already falls apart. We couldn't get tickets for the Forbidden City today, so we instead take a Didi to the Summer Palace. It's not really a compromise though. The Summer Palace is majestic in its own right. We'll visit Forbidden City on our last day. The Summer Palace was once a retreat for the Empress, located a bit further away from the center of Beijing. The peaceful scenery with the lake surrounded by mountains makes it clear why the Empress used this space for her retreat. The city feels far away even though it really isn't. Standing there, I started thinking about scale again. How much effort, land, and control it must have taken to build a place like this just for quiet. The Tower of Buddhist Incense rises above everything, but I'm more drawn to the island on the left, connected by a long stone bridge with 17 arches. As we cross the bridge, I can hear the ice shudder under the blaring sun. It's cold, but the sun is strong today. The island is magnificent. It's less crowded there, calmer, and for the first time since arriving, Beijing feels gentle. The island also features a souvenir shop, which was actually stocked with some really cool stuff. We ended up taking an incense dragon home with us. We spent most of the day wandering. The Summer Palace grounds are enormous, and even in the cold, the sun warms our backs as we walk through gardens and corridors. One of them, the long corridor, is painted in bright colors that almost don't match the winter around it. It feels like walking through a storybook, with the tower of Buddhist incense rising above everything. The climb up to the tower is quite steep, but we soon are on top of the hill and overlooking the lake. The lake is massive, almost resembling a sea. The tower itself is forbidden to enter, as with most shrines, but you can hang out in the area, sit on a bench, or just look out the windows across the lake. I would definitely recommend taking at least half a day to explore the Summer Palace grounds and its gardens. Even in winter, the gardens are worth a visit. You'll never know what artifacts or buildings hide away in any of the locations. After spending the whole day in Summer Palace, at least the hours of the day with sunlight, we come back to the center to wander Wangfujing Road. On the sprawling shopping street, we encounter Chinese aunties dancing, and everyone else is cheering them on. After walking 20,000 steps today, I'm ready to retire to bed. See you tomorrow for our largest adventure of the trip yet. Today's agenda is clear. We're visiting one of the great wonders of the world. A couple of kilometers outside of Beijing, you can visit the Great Wall of China. It's the only human-made structure visible from the moon. The wall spans more than 20,000 kilometers in length. As my athletic capability is lackluster, we opt to take the gondola up the hill. I'm really glad I did so, because the hill is incredibly steep. It makes me wonder how the Chinese built this such a long time ago, without any modern machinery. As soon as you step off the gondola, You're greeted by a large platform, from where you can go either up the hill or down. We choose to go up the hill with the intention of getting the best possible views. The Great Wall was one of the few attractions where foreigners outnumbered Chinese visitors. We attributed this to the fact that you can see the Great Wall in other parts of China as well, whereas places like Summer Palace you can only visit in Beijing. Let me know what you think. I brought my GFX camera, thinking this would be the perfect place for it. For landscapes of the Great Wall, this proved to be a fantastic tool to capture the scene. The large sensor captured the landscapes in sharp detail. The photos of the mountains that you can see from the Great Wall were actually one of the favorite photos I took from the whole trip. The climb is uneven. The steps are worn and steep, and every turn opens up to a slightly different view. The wall doesn't just sit on the mountain, it becomes it. It stretches across ridges and disappears into the distance. To me, it almost doesn't feel like a monument. It feels like something alive, something that adapted and merged into the land, rather than conquered it. I would love to see the Great Wall once more, maybe sometime in spring, when the trees turn green and flowers bloom. Winter changed the experience for me. The mountains are a muted brown color, almost blending into the wall, and there isn't any dramatic contrast, just layers of brown and stone and the sky. Taking the gondola back down, we still had half day of exploring left. We decided to take a Didi back to the city center of Beijing. You of course can't leave Beijing without visiting the famous Hutongs. Hutongs are narrow streets of the old Beijing city, where traditions, street food, arts, small coffee shops collide. We stroll through these streets, feeling the breath of the tradition. The alleyways twist and turn, opening into small courtyards where old aunties hang out, gossip, and look at the foreigners visiting. It's less about seeing specific landmarks and more just wandering around, letting the details and interesting spots pull you in. If you're looking for a souvenir, I think this is the best place to look for locally crafted ceramics and teaware, decorations, or traditional Chinese clothes, or whatever else you might want to bring home. Before the sun sets, we stroll through the Confucian Imperial College grounds. It seems that dressing up into traditional Chinese dress and taking photos is a very popular activity among people my age, and you'll catch photographers offering their services in some of the touristy areas as well. Looking back as I edit this footage, I'm really regretting not getting a photo taken at one of these sites. It could have been a really cool memento from the trip. Metal Hand's coffee shop is one of the most popular coffee shops in Beijing, and we visited one of their branches in Shanghai too. They're famous for the egg drink, but we decided to get the pistachio latte and the cheesecake instead. There's also tons of street food that you can try, and we'll try that a little bit more tomorrow. For now, I got an idea. What better place to get authentic hot pot than Beijing? We found a hot pot restaurant tucked into an alleyway and decided to give it a try. We probably ordered a bit too much food for just the two of us, but the soup was absolutely delicious. Luckily, seeing that we're foreigners helped us cook some of the food in the soup. Before the night ends, I discover a small tea shop in one of the Hutong courtyards. It's relatively empty, and we scoot inside to browse the tea selection. After finding a tea we like, the owner proposes to serve it to us before we buy, and we get grape oolong served. If you're familiar with Haichu grape gummies, this tastes exactly like that, with a splash of tea flavor in. This is our last day in Beijing, and we are saying goodbye to our hotel before heading over to the Forbidden City. Since the hotel is so close, we are walking, with pre-purchased tickets in our Alipay app. Always book the tickets at least a few days in advance, because same-day tickets for Forbidden City are just not possible. You can imagine Forbidden City to be a city within a city. The Forbidden City is separated from the rest of Beijing by a moat, which is completely frozen over now. Ordinary people were not allowed to enter, coining the name Forbidden City for the Emperor's Palace. The main hall and the most recognizable building in the Forbidden City is the Hall of Supreme Harmony, which is the largest wooden structure in China. This hall was used by the emperor to hold ceremonies. Only the emperor was able to freely roam this vast complex. Even some high-ranking officials had restricted access. An interesting thing I noted while walking through the grounds is that most of the roofs are painted yellow, which is apparently the color of the emperor. The construction of this vast palace grounds began in 1406 by the Ming Emperor, who wanted to build something no one has ever seen before. A palace so large to showcase his power and prosperous reign. Its construction required 1 million of workers to complete. The palace then served as the place for the emperors for more than 500 years. We breezed through the Forbidden City grounds fast, trying to squeeze in the Tiananmen Square into our last day itinerary. Imagine my utter shock when I realized that Tiananmen Square is also ticketed with no way of getting in without a prior reservation. Since we couldn't get in at all. Instead, we walked towards the Hutong area once more to grab some street food before we depart Beijing. As our last treat of the day, we enjoy a tea ceremony back at our hotel while the sun is setting. Thank you for joining me on this tour of Beijing. Next up in my series is Hong Kong, so I'll see you there. Until next time, bye.